Hello and welcome to the Live Show, the lifestyle show for teenagers made by teenagers. I'm Tamsin.
And I'm Leighton, and today's show is sponsored by Lifeways, and later on we'll be having a guest from Lifeways to talk about the business.
So some of our crew actually made a promotional video for Lifeways and we're going to premiere that on the show now, so here we go.
My name is James Pavitt and I'm the manager of Lifeways. That includes running everything, and it's great fun. Lifeways is really a centre for natural health. People come here for natural therapies, counselling, to find friends, to do yoga, and it's just a big friendly place. Lifeways is run as a charity, so if we make a surplus at the end of the year, we put that surplus into a community project or we put it into a project of our own, and at the same time that everything that is run here, all the businesses, all the charities that work here are doing good for the community as well. Yeah, the idea of Lifeways is to have a warm, homely, welcoming sort of atmosphere. We like to have people come in and make themselves a cup of tea and walk around the garden and just relax. The garden is a community space. We share it with other groups. We let different organisations have a little bit here and a little bit there. So we get groups in from MENCAP and Springfield Mind, and we have a green gym which meets on a Friday, and generally people who use the garden come in for a bit of therapy or come in just to grow food, and it does everyone a lot of good.
There's 6 rooms. Some are very small, one-to-one, very cosy, very comfortable, and that's mainly used for counselling, just 2 chair or 3 chairs. We have to offer our clients a safe place for them to feel that they can talk about their problems. The larger rooms have couches for all the sort of manual therapies. So we have many counsellors and psychotherapists, and we all deal with different modalities, which means some do CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, some are person-centred. There's all sorts of different types of counselling. There's also massage therapy, acupuncture, there's aromatherapy, and craniosacral therapy. There's mostly pretty much any holistic therapy that you're looking for. Lifeways will either offer here or we will refer to somebody that we know locally. Myself personally, I do cognitive behavioural therapy and trauma therapy. So that's for clients who are suffering from acute abuse, particularly post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and I do something called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitizing reprocessing, which helps reprocess any trauma that people have suffered.
Yeah, I'm Jane Smith and I work for Crew's Bereavement Care as a bereavement counsellor. It helps people who are really stuck in their grief. Grief is a lousy process and people take months and months to recover from their grief. Normally, if everything goes well, things start to get better, a year, 2 years, however long it is down the line. Some people just can't cope, and that's where we step in and we're able to listen to their problems. We, on our first session, run through the boundaries that are an integral part of any counselling session, the confidentiality and all the rest of it. And then really we're there just as a listening service.
Hi, welcome back. We're now joined with Peter from Lifeways. So good to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamsin.
I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about Lifeways, maybe the history of it.
It was started by a lady called Heather Burton.
Yeah.
Back in 1982, she bought the land and it became available. Heather was a multi-millionairess, and she had this vision of creating a place, a community centre. And it's been through a number over the years of different things. It was like a small commune at one time.
Yeah.
People were living on site and so on. But over the years it's changed. So that was back in 1982.
Oh, wow.
But she wanted to create an environment for people where they felt cared for.
Yeah.
And that has, I mean, sadly, we lost her a number of years ago, but that sort of ethos is still there. It still runs right through Lifeways.
Yeah, you can tell when speaking with people like James, he's so passionate about it being such a homely and like friendly environment. You know, he always, whenever we'd go to see him, he'd be like, I love the fact that people can just come in, make themselves a cup of tea and make themselves feel at home. Because I think therapy or going in to see someone about your problems can be quite scary and quite difficult. So making you feel at home is like such a good thing.
I think that's the thing about Lifeways. I work in a number of different therapy centres, and that stands out is that homely atmosphere that they have there, and have been developing. They're always looking for ways to improve that.
Yeah.
So, Peter, how long have you been working at Lifeways yourself?
I started working there in 2003. I started my first classes then, and they've just basically continued ever since. But, it's looking to run it at different times during the day so that people can come. Sometimes the daytime classes, you want people who've got children who are at school and so on, then they can come there, and then evening classes for people who are at work.
So are you a therapist? What sort of things do you do at Lifeways?
I teach meditation classes, which are about health and well-being. So it's coming from a neuroscience, neuropsychology point of view, helping people understand how their brain systems work, how their body systems work, and then from there, how their feelings and their thoughts affect those systems. Yeah.
So how much do you think Lifeways helps the community?
I think it's tremendous what they do there, and it's certainly been growing from the early days, how it was set up, and then sadly when Heather did die and her sons discussed what they were going to do with it as a centre, and they decided they wanted to continue it, so it became a trust. And that's when James became involved, and you can see how it's expanding, so there are many more groups involved.
So our show is kind of designed for teenagers, so what do you think some of the main difficulties and struggles young people are facing nowadays in our climate?
What I come across from my work at places like Warwick University is that the students are under a lot of pressure. And the more that pressure grows, then the more difficult it becomes to be able to do well. It's the way that our systems work. When we're put under pressure, we go into what's called survival mode, and that takes energy away from the two big hemispheres in the brain, which hold our creative intellectual centres. Also, very important for you guys, our ability to communicate. And so when we take energy away from that, we don't perform as well. So there are numbers of universities around the world which are changing their approach with their students. But it's a long way to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing, because the pressures of education, they really are quite high, and it can be a difficult environment to succeed in and excel at when you've got your own personal life as it is, and then the pressures of like studying as well on top of that. It can just be very difficult, which is why I think places like Lifeways can just help you relax, and relaxation is so important for getting rid of your anxieties and things like that.
It's the most important part, and it's something that we've forgotten in today's life. So for 2.5 million years we did about 6 hours of work a day, and the rest of the time in groups we socialised, we played, and we just spent time together. That's been lost, and there's more and more pressure to do things and to achieve. But our body's not designed to do that, so the body rebels, and we have to then deal with the consequences.
So do you get a lot of young people in Lifeways?
But I think for specific therapists, you can see that there are therapists who work with young people, and certainly of the ones that I know of, because you get to know the therapists there over the years. There's a lot of people very dedicated to what they're doing to help youngsters.
So what would you say your goals are with Lifeways?
It's to continue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, things go up and down. It's a natural thing. People come and they learn, and then jobs change, family life changes, and so on. But it's just, to continue with what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, you are doing some amazing work at Lifeways, so thank you for that.
And do you think Lifeways should expand outside of Stratford along the UK, or just stay where it is?
I think their ethos should expand, and their approach. And it's not just James. I mean, he's backed up by the trustees, and you can see how they bring it into practice. And I think a lot of other centres could learn from the approach that Lifeways takes.
Yeah.
So I hear that you have a radio show. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, excuse me. It started with at Lifeways. With a friend, we did it on a different radio station. For a number of years, we did a programme called The Alternative Show, because we were looking for things that were happening in this area which never got onto mainstream media.
Right.
And we discovered all sorts of things that go on in the Stratford area, which is phenomenal. There are people doing lots of fantastic work out there. So when that station shut down, we decided that we needed to keep a community radio station going. So it is a community radio station. It's not about professionals and so on. It's people from the community who are doing programmes that they're passionate about.
That's amazing. We're going to go to our advert now, so join us after the break.
Oh, what happened?
You right, Joe?
No, something's up on my back.
Should go get it fixed.
Where am I going to do that?
Lifeways.
I'm not going to some hospital.
Lifeways isn't a hospital. It's more of a house.
That sounds alright then.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Lifeways, a natural health charity.
So that was our advert for Lifeways, and we just want to thank Peter again for joining us on the show and for talking a little bit about what you do. And anything else, Tamsin?
No, I'd just like to say everyone that has been watching, thank you very much. And if you have any questions or you have any fears, and you live in the Stratford area and you're interested in therapy, go to Lifeways. I'm sure there's something out there for you. So,
Thanks for watching. I've been Leighton.
I'm Tamsin.
See you next time.
Bye.